morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Um, I did. So, this market's got some news coming this week, right? When we finally broke out of the balance a little bit in the ES or the SPY on Friday, and a little bit of a crazy thing with the non-farm payrolls, um, and the jobs being more of a bearish thing. But what happened was wage wages went down 0.2%, I believe, and services contracted for the first time. So the market went with that. That was the move for the market. Um, let's look at the watch list here. Let's look at what's going on currently. Crude, and I'll just talk about some news with everything. Crude is up 3.38%. It's up $2.49 a barrel. China is reopening. Um, so that's pretty big news for crude. They're going to say that the oil demand is going to really shoot up this year. All right. Now the VIX, if you notice, is up 2.74%. Right. This could be this not could be. This is because CPI is coming on Thursday. Powell's speaking tomorrow morning. Okay. Bitcoin's up 2.37%. We got the Nasdaq's up 0.58. The Russell is up 0.53. ES up 0.46. 10-year yield is up. Interesting, right? 10-year yield is up. Okay. People are selling bonds this morning. And the dollar is down, which is going to help commodities and equities. Okay, so a little bit of a mixed bag there. What do we have as far as leaders and laggards here? We have Baba. I think his name is Jack Ma. It was like relinquishing his power and there was a lot of internet stocks that were tanking in China. So that's big news for China. So Baba's up 4.84%. Coin is up 4.4%. Tesla cut their prices, and now demand, there's a waiting line for their demand. So Tesla is up 3.33%. AMD, Nvidia, and we got Snow. Amazon's up 1%, right? Any laggards per se? Not really. Even though Boeing just got an upgrade, but they are flat. Let's see. Oil, no joke, or no surprise. Chevron, Exxon up, Roblox up 1.4%. No laggard to speak of, and of course, energy sector leader, semiconductors. Those are the two leaders right now in the sectors. So let's move over to some news coming this week really quickly. There's no surprise here. We got Fed speaking tomorrow. Oh, that changed now. That was saying 8 a.m. last week, but now it is saying 9 a.m. So he is speaking right before, a half hour before the market opens. That should be interesting. We also have the big one, CPI, on Thursday. Big market mover. Big market mover. Also initial jobless claims. Big market mover. Okay. Then we got Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday. So that's what to look for in this week. Even though let's go to this daily chart. Even though we broke here, right? Look at this congestion of the moving averages here. We have the 50, we have the 100-day. Okay, we closed pretty much at the 100-day. All right, we broke the 20, but there's a lot of congestion up here, as well as there was a gap here that was filled. Okay, so I'm not sold yet. Okay, just because of this Powell speaking and CPI. Okay, now they are expecting, I believe, 5 point. Let me look at that again. let's see, yeah, for the CPI year after year, they're expecting 5.7. We were at 6, I believe, previously. So let's see. All right, so like I was saying, got the bunch of moving averages there that could be problematic to get through, right? Everybody sees, I don't know if everybody tracks the 100 day, but the 100 day, the 50, that is, I mean, could we just cut through it? We could, and then we have this, the bottom of this consolidation up here is about 393. So, um, but with those news events coming, it's just really a tricky market. It really is. So, I mean, let's see what the weeklies look like here. So this is the SPY weeklies. I mean, we broke out, but like, are we monsterly breaking out? Not that much. Now, if you, Nasdaq's a different story, right? Nasdaq has not broken out of the balance area yet, right? It's pretty much this high, and this high, right? It hasn't broken out yet. So that's going to be telltale for me. You need to see the Nasdaq break out of this. Okay, they still have the 20 simple moving average. We have the 50 above us. Okay, so that's, this is really what moves the market is the Qs. So you can see in the weekly here, we're not out of the woods. All right, underneath 200 day moving average on the weeklies. Definitely have a couple lows here that, we visit those, we could definitely go lower. All right, let's look at the triple headed monster. 10-year yield. Now this has been interesting because the 10-year yield is, we're basically made a swing high here. So this yield's moving higher was bad for the market. Now that it moved down, right? Up a little today. But now can it get a push higher, which would send the market back down, right? So we're right here right now. Came down significantly on Friday. So we have to see. Okay, let's look at the VIX. VIX pushed down, but the VIX, remember, this measures volatility, so it's expecting volatility this week or the next month with all this news coming out, right? Let's go to that dollar. Dollar now, this is interesting. Broke this support. It's still moving. So this is going to be positive for commodities and equities. The dollar breaking this support is pretty significant. Let's see the dollar on a weekly. You can see right here this support of 103 has been weekly support once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and now we're breaking it. Okay. Now the big portion of this dollar is the euro. Okay. So let's look at that. I'm just going to look at that. That's in the futures market. That's the 6E. And see that inverse. Okay, just to make everybody to know that. And let's go to the daily. Now you can notice. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let me actually go to my futures setup here. So there's the euro. And you can see the euro spiking here. Okay. So look at these moves in the euro. That's going to shove the dollar down. Okay. Now look at this. You can just remember the support I just showed you in the dollar. Well, look at this resistance I just breaking out of here. Right here. Look at it. Look at all of that resistance. Now it's cracked it in the euro. That's the biggest proponent of the dollar. What moves the dollars is the euro. It's the inverse. So dollar's moving up. I mean, euro's moving up. The dollar's going to move down. So that's pretty significant. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me move back to my. Okay. So let's go into the futures. Just give me one sec. All right, let's look at what's going on here. Obviously, on Friday, we talked about that already. What was happening, all right? And it was crazy because if we look at what happened, it was pretty nuts. Because in the overnight, look at this session in the overnight. It was pretty crazy. In the overnight, the range was huge because of the non-farm payrolls. Right? It just went crazy. And then we opened here, right? So if I split out the profile here, I can even make it wider so everyone can see it better, right? And we opened here, right? And it was crazy. We drove up. Why is that not showing that right? Yeah, we drove up. Sorry, guys. Drove back down all the way through the most traded price of the month, most traded price of the week, right? And then we started moving higher and then ripped all those shorts. Craziness. Held here, pushed higher. What a crazy move. Really crazy. So now we got our RTH high, got our RTH low. Let's make this a little smaller. Sorry, hold on a sec. I just want to make this so everybody can see it better. Okay, and I'll start again. So we got our RTH high, RTH low. Look where the low is, right at the most traded price of the week. Okay, now we're gapping higher today. Price is at 39.35. Right here we have our overnight low, overnight high. Okay, this is the 100-day moving average right here. And we have multiple distributions of the day on Friday. You can see it like one right here, one right here, and one right here. So this is a very interesting, right? Now we're kind of pushing out of the supply zone right here. So we're gapping up. Now this is a difficult trade right here to do. All right, so this is a little harder to read. Now is this in the short term? This is bullish, right? Because you're holding these levels, so that is bullish, right? So you have to really pay attention to that. Then we made a demand zone down here, okay, with the most traded price. So for me, I'm not gonna go long here. However the market shapes up, if we quickly move down here, that could be a nice long. That's what I would be looking for. Now the key is, let's go over to the Nasdaq. The key really is the Nasdaq, in my opinion. Okay, the Nasdaq has not broken out fully yet in the real-time trading hours. Okay, so we have the Nasdaq's high of the RTH here, low here. Okay, overnight high here, overnight low here. Now we've broken out here in the overnight, but that doesn't mean as much. This doesn't mean as much. It's lower volume, the underlying stocks, people aren't trading. Okay, so it's the overnights, the weekends trading this. So we're coming at a balance. Now there's a thing called balance rules. Now if we can't if we move higher and we only test this 20 day, if we only test and we start coming back through this price, especially the overnight low and the most traded price, okay, we definitely could move back here to the most traded price of the month, and maybe even go all the way back to the bottom. Now remember, the only reason I'm saying this is because Powell's speaking tomorrow morning. CPI is coming out on Thursday. The market might want to wait. Now, it might not wait. We might just go higher. But I'm very cautious because of this NASDAQ. This NASDAQ is obviously the weaker, it's tech, but it really hasn't pushed out yet. Okay? Really hasn't pushed out yet. So, same thing I was just saying before is if we come down quickly, real quick, this has to be quick in the beginning, then the market's not that weak and it's like kind of neutral. You could look for a long here in this demand zone to go higher, right? But this has to be like a quick taking profit and then like the market kind of like balances off and you can see it go higher. But if it's like very weak and we come through there, everyone long is gonna get liquidated. So there's two real ways that you can look at that. Like I said, it could be a quick profit taking, and then we kind of balance here, and then you can see if the market firms up, we could go higher. But if the market stays weak, it's probably going to go here. And then what were we going to do? We're going to wait. Powell's talking, CPI, right? The other way you can look at it is, are people expecting inflation to go down and they're getting ahead of it? That's the breakouts, kind of like you had service contract, you had the wage um, inflation go down, or the wage increases go down, and now people are getting ahead of the CPI because they expect it to be lower. But what if it's hot, right? So just so many factors. This market's very difficult right now to read. So that's what I'm looking at. All right. That's really what I have to watch this Nasdaq. You just really have to keep an eye on it. Hasn't officially broken out yet. It's be very tricky. Very tricky. So with that, um, I'm just gonna go straight to the market profile and give some scenarios. I know I kind of painted it here, but give me 1 second. All right. So I'm first gonna give a nice little bearish play, like I just talked about. Okay. Now ES is gapping higher, small gap. Okay, small gap. We have a 100-day moving average right at the overnight lows. Okay. Now this is what I'm just gonna go over what I just said before. I definitely could see a little push, even a little push. This is the 50-day moving average. I could even see it here. Remember, this is a bearish play. Now this, I don't have any weight on, like, I think this is definitely more probable. I really don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to say if this happens and you get some resistance to the 50 and we start coming through and we cross the open, okay, and we start coming down with some volume and pace, tempo, and we take this out, that's the 100-day, and we hold and we start coming down, we're going to go down and test this demand zone. Okay, and the most traded price of Friday. Okay, now the test from here is, there's two scenarios from here. If the market is very, very weak, we're going down to here, the most traded price of the month. If, now this is where you could pivot long here and look for a long. If market holds here and it's kind of more of a liquidation break, okay, this move down is liquidation break. It happens quick, comes out of nowhere, and we stabilize in here. That could be the long. All right, that could be your long. Okay, this is all going to be dictated right now. All dictated on what the Nasdaq does for me is what I'm going to be looking for, because remember, the Nasdaq hasn't broken out, just like I spoke about. So same thing I'm going to show you on the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq, let me see if we have any sort of moving average above us. We do. Okay, so in the Nasdaq, I can see this too. I can see us pushing up, maybe hitting the 20. You get some exuberance from people, and then we start coming back through the open. If we cut through the open and we're coming down with pace, this is a little sweeter of a setup here, because the most traded price of Friday in the Nasdaq was here. So if we can break this with tempo, we're gonna definitely move down. Most likely go into the demand zone, and then again, here's the test. If we rip through it, we're going down to here and possibly traversing the range, right? But if we don't, and we find our footing in this demand zone here, and this is also a 24-hour most traded price of the week right here, okay, we could then make the move. So that's really what I'm looking at. I'm looking at those scenarios, and it's basically all I'm gonna be looking at is how strong or weak the market is, and what I plan to do. By no means is that easy to read that, because it could happen very quickly. Um, but I really want to see what the Nasdaq does, because balance is, if you're breaking out of balance and you only go a little bit above and we come back down through it, you most times are going to traverse the range. You're going to go back to the other end of balance, and we're going to wait. However, if we gap and go or something today, you know, that's a different story. But I need to see the Nasdaq, what that's going to do for me to make any moves in the ES or just trade the Nasdaq. So hope that it made sense to everybody. Give me a comment, a like, or subscribe. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. And that's what I'm looking at today. I'm kind of keeping it simple, and really gonna watch the internals that I look at to see if there's real strength, if we have weakness, if see what's in the cards to really make my mind up. So I hope everybody stays green today. All right, and I will update. I will update if I see something that's whoa, like something's very important, or if something has changed. Maybe it will help somebody out. All right, so I'll see everybody tomorrow. All right, good luck today, guys and girls.